So again, thanks for joining us for Tech Commercialization Summer Consulting Program orientation for this coming summer. Glad to have you on board. We'll talk about 25 or so minutes about primarily logistics associated with the program and to get everybody up to speed on what to expect, how to plan, and make the most of this summer opportunity. So this program is now in its 18th year. So I started with the SBTDC back in 2001, and in 2002 we started this program. Is really a way to leverage the expertise that we have at across the state, really at a lot of our graduate school programs, from the east all the way to the west, and leverage that to assist you, the businesses, with a lot of the kind of the time-consuming legwork as it relates to all of the components of commercialization plan strategy development. So over the 18 years, about 300 companies have taken part in the program, working with over 150 interns. Surprisingly, over 65,000 hours of service have been provided to companies like yours through the program. That equates to something around 32 man years of time. So quite a bit of time and effort is put out through the interns to companies like yours in North Carolina. And the SBTDC and university fund about 95% of the stipends for the students that take part in the program. This summer, we'll be partnering with a good number of university programs around the state, specifically North Carolina State University's MBA program, Duke's MBA and Engineering Management program, UNC MBA and School of Pharmacy, Western Carolina MBA, UNC Charlotte MBA, and App State's MBA program. And keep in mind, all of the students are, in the most part, between their first and second year or between their second and third year of their graduate studies at these various universities. So they're still going to be going back to school for another year after their program, but they all have kind of that very baseline core foundation of business skills when they're entering into our program. So the time commitment is the following. Each student is going to be working with two SBTDC clients concurrently over the course of the summer. So roughly that equates to about 2.5 days a week with each of their two clients. And over the 10.5 week program, that should equate to about 200 hours of client time that you'll receive from your intern. Each student is assigned to an SBTDC mentor. So on my team, our tech commercialization team within the SBTDC, there are 5 of us. We're located around the state, and they comprise of Nicole, Mike, Chris, myself, and David. And what we do is mentor the students, kind of guide them, provide practical experience to them, and we meet with them on a weekly basis, one-on-one. So usually on Mondays or Fridays, we'll have a one-on-one discussion with our interns. So each of us is linked with between 2 and 3 interns, and we'll have weekly meetings with them to discuss how things are going, challenges that they're facing, how they're making headway toward deliverables that they're focused on, et cetera. So we keep very close contact, and that's one of the unique mechanisms or features of this particular program, is that we maintain very close engagement with these student consultants over the course of the summer. In terms of your communication with us, we want you to be in very close contact with us as well. Uh, it could be either directly with me or with me and the mentors that your student is working with, etc. But we look at communication as being one of the very key pillars of this particular program. We've got three parties: you, the student consultant, and us at the SBTDC, who wants to kind of manage and make this program as efficient as possible. So communication between all three parties, very important. Anytime there's kind of a downturn in communication, that just leads to an inefficient process. 10 weeks is a very short period of time, and any inefficiencies when it comes to a 10-week project can really, sink the ship, if you will. So we want you to communicate with us freely, anytime, be as candid as you wish. We want you to share good news, updates on the project, challenges, issues that you're facing. And again, our goal is to make this, as seamless, as efficient a process as possible, so that the deliverables that we've all set out to achieve, for you can be met. Your communication with the intern, very important. So at the very least, we would like you to work with the intern to put in place a schedule of communication on a weekly basis. So, every Monday at 9 a.m., you have a call or a sit-down meeting or a Zoom meeting or a webinar, or whatever you like, with your intern. That would be best. And again, setting up a schedule or a calendar of those dates throughout the summer, just so that they're on the books somewhere, is very important. We don't necessarily need to be part of that at the SBTDC. This is primarily your and the intern's kind of weekly update meeting. In person certainly is best, but certainly we know that that may not always be possible. And really important, if you don't happen to be available for a period of time, so you're going on vacation for a week or you're going to a conference, if at all possible, if you can identify a colleague or a team member of yours who can, be the point of contact during that period of time, that's really something that you should consider, so that the intern's kind of not left out there hanging if he or she has questions or concerns or wants to run something by you guys. So, work location. Students can certainly work virtually with you guys. So there's no requirement necessarily for providing your intern with office space. And that's simply because, we know that some of you don't necessarily have some dedicated office space that you can, put forth to the intern. However, if you do have physical space, we all know that being, in close quarters or being in close contact with your team members, has value in and of itself. So if you do have some space available, or a conference room where your intern can join you guys on premises, that's great. So if, again, not necessary that they do work on site with you, but if there is a possibility for them to do so, that 2.5 days a week or 1 day a week, whatever it is, that's always very beneficial for both parties. Confidentiality, very big point for us, an important point for us, and obviously for you. Students become employees of the SBTDC over the summer. And with that, they are held to the confidentiality policies that we have in place for SBTDC employees. When they do their orientation with us next Monday afternoon, the 13th, they are going to be signing a form called our Standards of Conduct form. And in that document, it outlines what our confidentiality policies are. With that, we expect them to handle your business information in the same manner, same confidential manner as all of us full-time SBTDC employees do. With that, students cannot sign an NDA directly with your company. And the reason for this is twofold. Number one, that they're already held under the confidentiality policies of the SBTDC. But two, signing a direct form with their clients would preclude them from discussing openly their business projects with us at the SBTDC. So again, we're going to be working closely with the interns over the summer, and there needs to be open communication between all three parties, us, the intern, and with you. So you should be comfortable in that, just like with us, full-time employees of the SBTDC, you're comfortable sharing information with us, and as such, you should be comfortable sharing information with the SBT or with the SBTDC interns over the summer. If you would like a copy of that confidentiality policy that all interns and SBTDC employees sign off on, let me know and I'll be happy to email that to you. Project planning. So again, initial orientation with all of the interns is going to be held next Monday afternoon. So all 12 or 13 of the interns will be coming together with our entire team to join that meeting. You guys, the businesses, are not required to attend that. This is intern SBTDC only meeting. After that orientation meeting, the interns will be tasked with developing a very clear work plan. Okay, and we'll go over that in the next slide as well. But in your initial meeting with your interns, and I know a lot of you have communicated already with your interns, the initial goals of that meeting that you have in that first week, next week, will be, number one, to establish expectations. Number two, to create a project timeline with clear deliverables and reasonable deadlines associated with them. Develop that meeting schedule, so that weekly meeting or whatever time period you wish, develop that weekly meeting and get them on a calendar, and communicate about what is going to be the ideal work location between the intern and you. So again, the deliverable from the intern to both us at the SBTDC and you will be that detailed work plan. So after your initial discussion with the intern about all of those things that you want to accomplish, by the next Monday, the 20th, we're going to be requesting that the intern provide that work plan to both you and to us. So put some thought into, what that work plan is going to look like prior to your first kind of official meeting with your intern. So here's a potential draft of what we want that work plan to look like, and we share this draft template with the interns at orientation, showing weeks 1 through 10, what the activities are that they expect to be carrying out in each of those weeks, what the expected deliverables are, and then over time, providing an update on what the progress is toward each of those deliverables. And certainly this is a living document, if you will. It can change a bit. We don't like to see it change very much from beginning to end, but we know that there can be some things that go a little bit quicker, go a little bit slower than originally expected. There could be some activities that pop up at your business. For example, hey, we've been invited to do a pitch presentation in 2 weeks. We kind of need to put week 2's activities on hold, and we need some assistance with this pitch presentation. So things like that can kind of pop up, but what we don't like to see is what we call scope creep, where either you or the intern is saying, oh, I've got some expertise in, Facebook advertising and or social media advertising, and I'd really like to, do that type of thing in our project. We don't like to see that those types of things, creep in week 5 and totally change up the project. So, in conclusion, in week 1, let's try to really nail down what that project schedule is going to look like and what the deliverables are. So each week, the student is going to be, in addition to meeting with their individual mentor, they are going to be developing a kind of a project update that they send to us on a weekly basis. So every Monday morning, they'll be filling out a particular template that we have, and that's going to help us keep track of are they carrying out the activities that they were tasked with, how are the deliverables going, etc. Over the course of the 10 weeks, we also keep the students busy with a total of 5 additional group meetings in addition to the orientation that we'll be doing next week. And these are really opportunities for the interns to get to know each other. They're an opportunity for the interns to discuss resources that they've identified that might be helpful to other interns. In our orientation session, it will actually be held at the North Carolina Biotech Center. And toward the end of the orientation, we're going to be introducing them to the research library at the Biotech Center. And for those of you who haven't used the research library at the Biotech Center, it's a terrific resource of a lot of market research, industry reports, and things like that are often quite expensive, but the interns learn how to use these resources, learn how to dig in and find information that they need on your behalf. So we're happy that we're going to be partnering with the Biotech Center and providing that resource to the students over the summer. Session number 2 will be a project discussion. So basically a conference room, and we go around the table discussing what their work plan looks like, challenges that they foresee, deliverables that they're hoping to achieve on your behalf. And again, we share information back and forth about resources, etc. Sessions 3 and 4 are an elevator pitch overview, where we bring in a communications and marketing professor from Keenan Flagler, and he discusses how to develop and deliver an effective 60-second pitch. And a week later, in session 4, the interns all have the opportunity to get up and present a 60-second pitch for each of their 2 clients. So this is a great opportunity for them to learn how difficult it is to present clear information in a very short period of time. But it also allows them to, develop this pitch and kind of hand it off to you. You all certainly have your own pitches developed, but perhaps not a 60-second pitch. So this is something that they can kind of hand off to you to as another little deliverable on your behalf. Session 5 will be kind of a project discussion a week before the end of the internship. We'll talk about kind of wrapping things up, how to package up deliverables that might be outstanding, etc. And then final session number 6 will be July 23rd. That will be held at NC State. So if you would like to attend that, clients are welcome to attend either the whole day or just the final deliverable presentation from their interns. We'll provide lunch. So more information on that, as we get closer to that date, but love to have as many people there as possible. So again, July 23rd, it's a Tuesday, and that'll be held at NC State. Those final presentations, there's 7 minutes for each client that the interns are working with. They'll provide an overview of who their clients are, kind of what the business focus is of their clients, the work that they conducted over the course of the summer, overview of the deliverables that they were able to deliver, and finally, and most fun is what are the lessons learned that they experienced over the summer, both personally and professionally. So it's always nice to see if the interns have a good feel for entrepreneurship after the summer, or if entrepreneurship is something that not really for them. But it's always really fun to hear the stories of wow, I never thought working with an early stage company would be as exciting as they had expected. So it's a great session, and we always love to attend that. So the funding contributions, as we talked about, the SBTDC and the universities that the interns go to put in about 90% of the stipend for the students over the summer. That final 10% is where we request that you, the clients who are taking part in the program, provide kind of that extra mile, or that final mile, I should say, of funding. So we talked about contribution of $750 in our last webinar that we did a couple of months ago. And what we're going to be doing is sending you an invoice, so directly from the SBTDC, and you can make payment upon receipt of that invoice. What I'm going to be doing after the webinar is sending all of the clients an email requesting your updated mailing address. So although the invoice will most likely be emailed to you, we still do need a mailing address. So just to make sure that we do have that correct mailing address, I'll be sending you an email. And if you could just real quick respond to that with your updated mailing address, that will be appreciated. So in conclusion, as you're meeting with your intern or communicating with them this week and then next week for your initial official meeting, provide as much background information to them as you can, just so they can really hit the ground running. You'll have that initial meeting with your intern. Their final or their initial work for you and for us is going to be to develop that very clearly identifiable work plan with deliverables and steps that they expect to take. Discuss in that initial meeting logistics about workspace. If you have some, great. If you don't, what are some of the workarounds going to be in terms of communications for your weekly discussions? And again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but communication between all parties, very, very important, because 10 weeks goes by really quickly. So we want to keep this as efficient as possible. So with that, let's open it up to questions. So using the toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen, please feel free to type in any questions that you may have. I'll be happy to answer them. If you don't have any questions, or if you'd like to answer or ask a question outside of that, that would be great. First question is, do you have a template for the detailed work plan? Yes, and we do provide that to the interns after their orientation next week, and they're going to be completing that and then delivering that to both you and to us the next Monday. So another question is, what types of research resources are offered in the Biotech Center library? This may help us to know what kinds of market research are possible for our interns. After or during your initial meeting with your intern, you can talk to them about what they learned in their overview of the program after they meet with the Biotech Center research librarians, and they'll have a much better kind of sense of what the resources are. So that'll be a good discussion between you guys and the intern. Next question from Anil. This is my first experience hosting an SBTDC intern. This is very well organized. Thank you very much, Anil. Next question is from Sanker. So the program runs from May 14th through the 23rd of July, right? Absolutely, that is exactly correct. There has been precedent for interns continuing to work with you after the official end date of July 23rd. So that is kind of between you and the client, you and the intern to kind of iron out details regarding that. But if there are particular deliverables that you and the intern still want to work on after the official end date, that's absolutely fine. We'll certainly still maintain our relationship with both you and the intern as that progresses, but that happens. Are there any restrictions on working during weekends? Well, that's really up to you and the intern. We certainly don't want the interns to be working, during outside of normal business hours if they have other commitments, whatever. But what we're looking for is a total of 40 hours a week. That's what they're getting paid for through the SBTDC and the university funding. But if there are events or things happening on the weekend that they're able to attend, we don't have a problem with that. Next question. If there's travel involved for the interns to come to our facility, is it expected to pay travel costs, or is there funding from the SBTDC for this? We do not have funding set up to cover travel expenses for the interns. The interns are aware of that. So, a lot of travel for interns, can work out for some interns, but if some interns, don't necessarily have the ability to do that, due to vehicle issues or funding issues, that would be between you and the intern to work out. But generally, that's not a problem. And again, interns are working with 2 companies apiece concurrently for the period of the 10 weeks. Next question, are interns covered by SBTDC insurance, or do we have to cover this? We do not cover the interns. I'm not quite sure what type of insurance that you're talking about, if you're talking about health insurance or liability, but we're not provided. They're basically consultants or whatever for the internship, temporary employees, I should say, not consultants. So they're not covered by any particular internship, any particular insurance. But good question, and if you have other concerns about that, I can certainly look into that and see how that all works. All right, with that, I don't see any other questions. It is exactly 10:29, so we got you out of here in exactly 29 minutes. So again, thanks for joining us for this morning's session. We really look forward to this program on an annual basis. This is why I've been doing this for 18 years. It's a lot of fun working with both you and the interns. And at the end of the day, a lot of great deliverables and work product comes out of this. So again, have a great rest of your day. Look forward to kicking this program off next week. And if you have any questions, email me at sbir@sbtdc.org, and we'll go forth and have fun this summer. Thanks. Have a great day.